It's NBA action on EA Sports. I'm Ed Cohen. Great to be joined by Jay Williams for what should be a terrific matchup here tonight. We're at Target Center in downtown Minneapolis. Tonight, it'll be the Minnesota Timberwolves taking on the Houston Rockets. The opening tip won by the Timberwolves as we get rolling from Target Center. 47 wins for Minnesota. They squeak into the playoffs. What's key to take that next step?
If you're Scott Layden, the GM of the Wolves, the one person you're waiting for to arrive is Andrew Wiggins. Now, he had an impressive 3 seasons that earned him a max deal. But we watched this young man go from being the second option behind Jimmy Butler to now the third option behind Karl Anthony Towns. He averaged 17.5 points last year, but you need him to be a max-type player for this team to take the next leap.
That's his first personal foul. Team foul number 1 for the Timberwolves.
Jeff Teague at the line. Off the mark on the first free throw. Good recovery. Hits the second free throw. Harden to Paul. And the reward, a couple of shots at the line.
Hey, look, sometimes you need to feel out your opponent. Let him know you're there. I'm okay with that early foul.
Chris Paul at the line. And he connects on the first free throw. Good free throw shooting. Knocks down a pair. Jimmy Butler goes down last year, nearly cost Minnesota the playoffs. When he's healthy, what makes him so dangerous?
Well, he's a versatile player. He's a guy that can lock up on the defensive end and a guy that can give you 20-plus points every single night. Let's remember, he missed 21 games last year. That's a quarter of the season. But the team didn't do that bad without him. They went 10-11. If these guys can finally come together and build some chemistry, they're a team that could be a 6 or a 5 seed in the West.
And James Harden, well defended, still gets it to go down. Can only imagine how frustrating that is to stop.
It's beyond an arduous task for the defender. I'm getting frustrated even talking about it. Let me tell you 2 reasons why. Number 1, he's been top 5 in the league since the 2012. Oh! And he can't keep it in off the block.
Man, that was impressive. Harden. Now a pass stolen by the Timberwolves.
It's early. Get a good quality shot here.
Ah, rocking the rim. Gotta love the rim rockers.
Gotta be careful, though. Don't hang on the rim too long. You might get a tee.
Count the basket inside.
It looks like he's using his ball handling to feel the game out. I know it looks like he's just playing around out there, trying to get the fans going. That is true, but he's also finding his rhythm.
Yes, Andrew Wiggins. 2 for 2. That's what you want.
Not always the first option, but his number was definitely called on that one.
Houston takes over. Paul. Doesn't get the bounce. Basket's good on the follow. Way to stay with it.
I'm not sure that wasn't an offensive foul, but take it when you can get it.
Teague with the basketball. Looking to make something happen. To Wiggins. And he's fouled. Earns a trip to the foul line, Jay.
It's still early, so no real impact on that call. But you know that they're going to call this one tight, so you might want to keep your hands out of his pocket.
Misses the first. He missed a pair of free throws. Anthony, not a good pass there. T-Wolves have it. Butler to bring it up. He'll run the offense. Towns, open look, and he buries it. Defense has to wake up.
Look, I get it. I've been one of the players who have had these mishaps happen to defensively. There is no worse feeling than the next day in film session watching yourself roam on the island by yourself. Somebody in this particular moment needs to tell you to get your head out of you-know-what to get back in the game.
Timberwolves have the basketball. Butler to Wiggins. Fires the three. Andrew Wiggins. No one in the Canadians' postal code with the basket.
Great shot by the offense, but the defense, you can't afford to collapse off that penetration. I'd rather a team take a tough two than a wide-open three.
And a nice finish at the rim. Sometimes it looks like he's not locked in, but think otherwise.
Let's be honest. Sometimes he is not locked in when the ball isn't in his hands. But do you need James Harden to be locked in 100% of the time? No, you need him to be locked in 95% when he has the ball in his hands. That's when something spectacular is going to happen offensively for your team.
Trying to cash in. Deep two there. Won't go. Harden with the basketball. 14-13 our score. It's a one-point game. Always has a chance for Tucker, but not that time. Butler to Taj Gibson. Around the perimeter. Butler. Not getting the bounce. To Harden. James Harden. 3 for 3. That's a perfect start. The way he gets to the line, you have to respect every part of his game.
He is an occupational hazard for referees. He's the MVP of drawing fouls. He constantly baits the defender, which makes the defender's hands drop, which allows James Harden to drop buckets on.
Now the Rockets will use a timeout as they'll talk things over in a one-point basketball game.
The opportunity to attend a post-game press conference. Visit the website for your chance to win.
Time to adjust. Both coaches making changes on the floor. On the drive, it's Paul, but his shot stays out. To Rose. A lot of contact on that play. He plays through it and scores.
There you go. I like seeing scoring coming from unlikely sources.
Ooh, Chris Paul. He's 3 of 5, 60% shooting from the field.
Ed, all this talk I heard over the summer, what about CP3's hamstring? Will he be able to get back his first step? Will he still have it? There you go.
Butler to Wiggins. Knocked loose. Rockets have it. Capella. Hand in his face. Still hits. You don't see that very often.
What a pass. I have no clue how that ball even made it through the traffic.
A lot of contact. No whistle. He'll let one fly from half court. That'll do it for the first quarter. The Rockets with the lead. second quarter about to start. Jay, this has felt like a game of horse. It was shot for shot in the opening period.
Both teams are on fire, but speaking of competitive juices, one of the beautiful things that we heard during the timeout, in a team huddle, you heard multiple voices that weren't the coach saying how much more they needed to fight in order to win this game. Oh, trust me, the intensity level is going to pick up a couple of notches.
Rose. Derrick Rose, 3 for 3 in this first half.
Ed, as a defender, you're very reluctant to challenge the shot because if you impede his space for where he lands, that's going to be an easy foul.
Count the basket at the rim.
I don't know if the scouting report has made its way out here yet, but if anything, it says you need to not let him get that close to the rim.
Teague with it up top. They're down 3. Rose. They'll go to Butler. Down low. He throws it down. Good luck keeping up with that.
Did you see that jump? It was as quick as a pogo stick.
From the painted area, won't go down.
Well, you can't finish with your right hand on the left side of the rim. You actually have to use your opposite hand. Steve Nash is one of the best at this. Different shots at different angles, high up the glass, expecting that there are trees down below with long wingspans that can block your shot.
To Harden. From long range. Had made his first couple, but he misses there. Minnesota with the basketball. Butler to Teague. Fires the 3. Oh, he couldn't get it to go. Paul. Now a pass stolen by the Timberwolves. Has a chance. The shot almost. Knocked loose. Foot was on the line. It's a turnover. Looks like both teams are making substitutions.
Subbing in for Houston, number 15, Clint Capella.
Jeff Teague, 2 of 4 now.
Clearly not afraid of the spotlight here because that was not an easy look.
Here's CP3. He's looking for that touch. Teague with the basketball. Leads 1. Tucker with the rebound. To Harden. Has a look. Harden shot, no good.
It's easy. Force guys into low percentage shots. That's the reason why we're big into stats. It was all provided to you before the game in the scouting report.
Wiggins to Teague. The drive right to the basket. Oh, Capella up to block it. And this will be out of bounds off of Butler. There will be no shortage of shots for Carmelo Anthony in Mike D'Antoni's offense, Jay. Why is it a good fit for Melo in Houston?
Well, a couple of things. Number one, if there's one guy you need to trust, his name is Daryl Morey. And the Houston Rockets organization is a stat-driven culture. So he understands at this juncture where Carmelo Anthony is in his relationship to his career. Playing with 2 pass-first type PGs and James Harden and CP3, who averaged a combined 12.5, 13 assists last year, will open up the floor extensively for Carmelo to knock down those jump shots.
In the second quarter.
Yes, and a foul. He'll have a chance at a 3-point play.
People become so fixated on the hands or the arms or the strengths of the arms. I look at the legs. The strength of his legs help him power through that play. That's how you get and ones.
Chris Paul trying to cash in on a 3-point play. He's perfect from the line so far. And he adds the free throw. T-Wolves with the basketball. Screen coming. Teague to Gibson. Taj Gibson. He is shooting well. He's made 2/3 of his shots.
I love the drive to the basket there. Instead of trying to go around or over, go through.
Yes, and the foul, and a chance at 3 coming up.
He should get some kind of acting award. That's a great sell by the offensive player. But guess what? The ref spit, and that's the game.
Chris Paul at the line for a chance at a three-point play. Hasn't missed yet. And he hits. It's Minnesota basketball. T to Butler. Shot slammed down. Karl Anthony Towns on the follow.
Woo, that's nasty right there.
Harden with it up top. Down by 1. 4-3. That's how you defend. Teague with it up top. Counting down toward a minute to go in this first half. The shot denied by Harden. Wiggins.
Don't stare him down like that afterwards.
The assist from number 23, Jimmy Butler.
James Harden. With that shot, he's 5 for 8.
It just seems like one of 3 things happen every time James Harden has the ball. Either he scores, he gets fouled, or he kicks it out to someone for a 3. Pick your poison.
T to Butler. Beyond the arc for 3. And Jimmy Butler all in stride. Catch and shoot 3 is good.
You know, Jimmy Buckets really has an inspiring story. From being homeless at the age of 13 before moving in with a friend, reads like a basketball version of The Blind Side. That grit has become the fabric of his DNA. From Tyler Junior College to Marquette to the 30th pick in the first round, are you kidding me? To where he is now, Jimmy Buckets has had to earn every inch that this game has given him.
And he's going to the free throw line.
Love the fact that the shooter created contact on the upward motion to shoot the basketball. Big time play.
Taj Gibson at the line. First free throw is good. Can't connect on the second, and he splits the pair. Not a good pass there. T-Wolves have it. The shot blocked by Anthony.
Sent a message on that one, Ed.
Shot from the lane won't go. Time expires on the period. The Timberwolves have the lead.
The Timberwolves are in a close game thus far. Clearly, the number of three-pointers these guys scored in the first half was incredible. And if they can keep that up, it's going to be tough to keep that team down. Have a look at the leading scorers for the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Rockets are keeping things exciting in a close matchup.
And without question, they can put themselves in a position to win this game if they continue to rack up the assists.
These are the guys getting buckets for the Houston Rockets.
Game track. Steals.
We're seeing a lot of steals in this game, and it's not been one-sided. Each of the teams in this matchup have been aggressive on defense and getting some positive results.
Player of the half.
Butler stole the ball left and right in that opening half and somehow did it without fouling out. It can be hard at the NBA level to play that kind of opportunistic defense and not get whistled for it. Here we go with the top plays from the first half.
Number 2. Number 1. Game track. Steals.
Some very aggressive defense has allowed both teams to rack up a lot of steals.
Here we go with the top plays from the first half. The Timberwolves
Have the lead, but not by much.
clearly, the number of three-pointers these guys scored in the first half was incredible. And if they can keep that up, it's going to be tough to keep that team down. These are the guys getting buckets for the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Rockets.
Are still very much in this matchup.
And that deficit is a negative, of course, but I do see it positive. I really like how they move the ball, keeping each other involved offensively. They've got a nice flow to their game today.
Game track. Steals.
That must have been a difficult half of basketball for these coaches to watch. Neither team was able to hold on to the ball, as you can see by the steals in these highlights. Still, some credit should go to the guys with the active hands.
Player of the half.
Butler was a pickpocket in the first half, getting all kinds of steals. I'm interested to see if he can keep it up in the second half. Here we go with the top 3 plays from the first half.
Number 2. Number 1.
The Timberwolves are in a tight battle after 2 quarters. Clearly, the number of three-pointers these guys scored in the first half was incredible. And if they can keep...
Game track. Steals.
We might be enjoying these first half highlights of steals, but I'm sure the coaches won't be in the next film session. Neither of these teams have been consistently able to maintain control of the basketball.
Player of the half.
Butler
Was like a magician on the hardwood, consistently fooling the ball handler and creating a ton of extra possessions for his team.
Here's our top plays from the first half.
Number 2. Number 1.
The Timberwolves have themselves a close game after 2 quarters. Clearly, the number of three-pointers these guys scored in the first half was incredible. And if they can keep that up, it's going to be tough to keep that team down. Have a look at the leading scores for the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Rockets aren't down by much after 2 quarters. I love the way they gave each other scoring opportunities. That really impressed me. I love seeing unselfish basketball like that. Have a look at the leading scores for the Houston Rockets.
Game track. Steals.
The The story of this game so far has been the lack of ball security. Neither team can hold on to the ball, and unfortunately, it made the first half kind of tough to watch.
Player of the half.
Butler did an incredible job on defense, particularly when it came to being a pickpocket. He killed a number of the opposition's possessions. We got our top 3 plays for you. Check them out.
Number 2.
Fellas, back to you.
Tight game through the first 2 quarters as we resume play here in the third. Harden to P.J. Tucker. From the painted area, won't go down.
So many teams just try to beat you with their offense. Well, your offense can only take you so far. The one thing that's supposed to travel, whether you're home or away, is your defense. That's your staple.
T to Butler. Jimmy Butler, he's 3 of 5, 60% shooting from the field.
Jimmy Butler's made such an impact on this young Timberwolves team. A guy with a blue-collar mentality, shows up to practice early and stays late. And obviously we saw that in the fact that the Minnesota Timberwolves made the playoffs for the first time last year since 2004.
Jay, last year, Rockets 65-17. Good for #1 record in the West. What's going to be good enough this year for the Rockets to get to the NBA Finals?
Well, you need CP3 to be healthy. If he's healthy, you can make an argument that the Rockets may have won the Western Conference Finals against the Golden State Warriors. But also, I think James Harden needs to continue to build on his play in the playoffs in particular. Everybody knows about how great he was during the regular season, but those last 6 games against the Golden State Warriors, he really struggled from the three-point line. He shot 37% during the regular season. He shot 20% in the Western Conference Finals.
Almost unlucky bounce to Harden. Inside, he scores. The challenge defending a guy who can be a 1 or a 2.
We're not old men talking about this game. We don't define players by positions anymore. Is he a 1 or is he a 2? No, he's James Harden. He is a scorer and an elite passer.
To Butler, trying to cash in. Wide open look, won't go. Knocks it down from mid-range.
Look, the Rockets don't take too many mid-range jumpers. Actually, last season, they led the league in three-point attempts. Glad to see them actually find a two-point shot relevant these days.
T to Butler. That's no good. Harden into the front court. His guys trail now by 4. Tough shot. Well defended. To T. Towns buries it on the catch and shoot.
And watching all these great shooters on the floor at once, it almost mesmerizes me. It's like you're watching the shot in slow motion. The backspin, it gives off the feel that the ball's going in every time.
Minnesota at the control. Knocked loose. And that's going to get out of bounds off of Harden. It'll stay with Minnesota. Mixing things up. Hockey line substitutions. Both teams making changes. Butler. It's Capella who clears the rebound. Gordon with it. The deficit now up to 5. The pass set it all up.
And when plays like that happen with multiple players touching the ball, basketball gods will 100% reward you.
Rose into the front court. They're looking to make something happen. Here comes the screen. Butler. Down low for Gibson. Lays it up and in.
Ed, did you see what this pass just did? Now it encourages his teammates to move with more sense of urgency because they understand that next time down the court, they might be on the receiving end of that pass.
To Rose. Gibson. no doubt. Slams it down.
And I think I speak for Minnesota Timberwolves fans everywhere. We're still waiting to see if the real Andrew Wiggins wants to step up and go to the next level. He averaged 18 points per game last year, but that was a drop back from the year before. For a guy being drafted #1 overall, expectations are sky high.
Team foul number 1.
Coach has seen enough. He wants some changes. New personnel onto the floor. Eric Gordon trying to cash in on a three-point play. A career 81% free throw shooter. Free throw is good to finish off the three-point play. That slices the lead down to 4. T-Wolves at the controls going up the floor. Butler to Rose. Here comes the screen. Nothing going here on that drive. Rose down low for Gibson. Taj Gibson above the rim.
You know what I like about this pass play? Instead of putting his head down and forcing the action, he patiently waited for the play to develop.
Tucker to Capella. Count the basket. A lot of contact. No foul.
He's been doing this for years. The physicality in which he plays, no one wants to see that. You're going to leave the game with black and blue marks all over your body.
To Towns. Slam dunk.
In an era where big centers often get devalued, Karl Anthony Towns is a true foundational player. He can function as a traditional center, but also can show you quick moves around the perimeter and knock down that three-point shot from deep.
And a whistle.
That's just a blatant foul. Maybe he's trying to make a statement.
Mike D'Antoni going to make some moves and set his matchups.
That's the first foul in the last 2 minutes. Substitutions, Houston.
Knocked loose. Rockets come up with it. And that's going to be off of Anthony, out of bounds. The Timberwolves have the basketball. Derrick Rose slams it down.
The assist foul, number 32. Karl Anthony.
3 quarters down. The 4th quarter coming up. It's the Timberwolves in front. The Wolves with the basketballs. We start the 4th quarter. They had the lead coming out of halftime. They were able to extend that lead in the 3rd quarter.
A lot of fans and players get consumed with the big plays, but the coaches love seeing their teams continuing to do the little things. That's how you increase the lead.
And Towns with the flush. The smooth, fluid game from Karl Anthony Towns.
Well, we got a chance to firsthand watch something be created. I think we just watched an epidemic of passing. I've never seen something like this before. It was so contagious, everybody started to do it, and it ultimately led to the other team's demise.
If that's an epidemic, sign me up. Butler to Taj Gibson. Now ready for a couple of free throws.
Great job, Ed, by the shooter to create contact after the jump. That's how you get to the free throw line.
Taj Gibson at the line. Can't connect on the first free throw. No good on the first, no good on the second. 0 for 2 to Harden. Going to launch beyond the arc. That's off the side of the rim, short.
And big-time coaching strategy by the staff right there, utilizing their bench, keeping fresh legs on that shooter consistently throughout the course of the game.
And scores. Karl Anthony Towns with the finish.
Everybody in the building, including myself, thought that pass was going somewhere else. Fool me once? Okay, but you're definitely not fooling me twice.
Timberwolves have the basketball to Towns. Knocked loose. Both coaches hitting the reset button. Fresh legs coming onto the floor. Second effort. Nice follow-up on the dunk there.
Sometimes when the players find that flow, nobody else needs to touch the ball. He's in the zone by himself.
Gets it in the left corner. Cruises inside for two.
Eric Gordon finished second in the six-man of the year voting after winning the previous year. But what's even more astonishing is watching his development at his time in Houston. In New Orleans, often it looked like he was lost. But there's no doubt about it. In H-Town last year, he found a second life.
Old school. Backs his man down for the basket.
Old school equals high percentage.
Add 2 points to the board.
And Melo will be the first one to tell you this. He's not ready to be a role player just yet. He can still put up points in bunches. Didn't shoot the ball that well last year. Averaged around 16 a game. The lowest total of his 15-year career.
Wow. To Towns. With the fadeaway. Burns him for the basket.
This may sound cheesy, but sometimes you just need to sit back, get a tub of popcorn, and just enjoy the show, because that's what you're watching right now.
Teague with the basketball. Lead stands at 10. Butler to Towns. It's a big finish.
I know there's that old saying that says one man can't beat five, but we're watching one man carry 4 other players. His back has to be hurting. Another big-time finish.
A lot of contact. Shots no good and no foul. Gets a look. Can't hit. Harden in possession. The deficit now up to a dozen. Capella to Paul. Here's a chance from long range. Great defense, forcing the miss.
And look, sometimes you don't have it going every single night. Maybe utilize yourself as a decoy and get some teammates involved with your passing.
Oh, with the foul. And a chance coming up at the line.
Ed, as a defender, you cannot, I repeat, you cannot foul in the act of upward motion into your shot. Your timing needs to be better.
Jeff Teague at the line. First one goes down. Two for 2 on that trip. Jumper's good.
Attack mode isn't a switch that you can just turn on and off. He needs to do more of that. We need to see him penetrate, get into that lane, and create.
Teague to Towns. And he's fouled. Very close, Jay. Free throws coming up.
Smart play to rip through the extended arm of the defender. That will get you to the free throw line every time.
Knocks down the first. And gets both to drop at the line. Rockets in control of the basketball. Harden to Anthony. The shot denied by Towns.
You know, sometimes basketball can become a very beautiful thing to watch. During the regular season, things can get difficult. Energy can be low. The passion at times can even be lower because players are tired. They're fatigued. But today, it's all been good. They're putting in an absolute show with killer efficiency and tremendous effort and intensity.
Jimmy Butler for two. Jimmy Butler, 4 out of 10.
When the ball is in his hands, we all knew what was going to happen.
To Paul. Nothing going here on that drive. Deep left corner. Harden, that's off the side of the rim, no good.
And there's always so much talk about defense. How about offensively? If you continue to attack that shooter, now you're making him work on the defensive end. That makes him take his legs away on the offensive end.
T to Towns.
Oh, denied. As my old teammate RJ would say, stay down, clown.
Shot from the lane, won't go.
And this is where you know you have the offense right where you want them. Every possession, all you see them doing is complaining to the ref, complaining to each other. You're making the game uncomfortable. That's the mark of a good defense.
Shot clock winding down. 24-second violation. That's a 5-second violation. It's a victory for the Timberwolves as they win this one handily. That'll wrap things up. For Jay Williams and our entire crew, I'm Ed Cohen. This has been a presentation of the NBA on EA Sports.
Here, and I've got your EA Sports post-game wrap-up. The Timberwolves got themselves a win here today. And more often than not, they were hitting the three when they popped from long range. Winning gets a lot easier when you're adding so many points to the scoreboard, 3 at a time. The Rockets put up a fight, but didn't get their hands raised at the end. And even though some of them smiled and shook hands with the other guys after the game, you could tell by the way they headed to the tunnels how disappointed they were about this loss. What you see here is how the majority of the points were scored for the Houston Rockets.
Game trap. 3-point shooting. Player of the game.
Karl Anthony Towns.
Seemed to think he could only score points with dunks in this game. Again and again. He kept throwing them down, and it was just astonishing. We handpicked them for you. Here are the top plays.
Number 2. Number 1.
This has been a presentation of ESPN on EA Sports. Until next time, I'm Jalen Rose, signing off.
welcome you to Houston, Texas. I'm Ed Cohen with the former Chicago Bulls guard Jay Williams. And Jay, from the land of the space program, we're ready for takeoff.
That's right, and they're letting those threes fly everywhere on the court. Let's see if this team can win a third championship.
Ready to go here from Toyota Center. Let's gear up for the opening tip. Minnesota begins the game with the basketball. 47 wins for Minnesota. They squeak into the playoffs. What's key to take that next step?
If you're Scott Layden, the GM of the Wolves, the one person you're waiting for to arrive is Andrew Wiggins. Now, he had an impressive 3 seasons that earned him a max deal. But we watched this young man go from being the second option behind Jimmy Butler to now the third option behind Karl Anthony Towns. He averaged 17.5 points last year, but you need him to be a max-type player for this team to take the next leap.
Butler for 2. Deep 2 there. Won't go. Nice follow-up on the dunk there. Whoa, he got up there.
Just showing you that 40-inch vertical.
Rockets have the ball. Paul to Capella. Surveys the floor to Anthony. Nothing going here on that drive. Yes, Carmelo Anthony. Good start. He's made his first shot. Knowing Carmelo Anthony, the competitor, you know he wants to do the same things as he was doing 5 years ago. Can he?
Well, the answer easy is no. Your mind is telling you yes, but your body is saying the exact opposite. The next step for Carmelo Anthony is to understand that he needs to keep it simple. If he's a catch-and-shoot player, help provide spacing and open up that lane for other players to attack.
Wiggins. And the Rockets have the rebound. Paul into the front court. Leads 3. Who left in Houston? Luka Mute to the Clippers, Trevor Ariza to Phoenix. So, Jay, how do the Rockets adapt without 2 key wing defenders this year?
Well, other guys need to step up. I think you need to see P.J. Tucker step up. Gerald Green, we all know how explosive he is offensively, but he needs to make that applicable to the defensive end. Michael Carter-Williams is another big acquisition. He's a bigger guard who can use his length to deter shots. And also another kid, Markel Brown. He played at Oklahoma State. Extremely athletic, explosive on the perimeter. If these guys can do it by committee, that might be enough to eclipse the Golden State Warriors.
It's Rockets ball. Anthony to Capella. Able to convert inside.
Old school equals high percentage.
Teague with the basketball. They're down 3. To Butler. Wiggins. Taj Gibson. 3 for 3. That's a perfect start.
You feel that? I see the confidence building.
Harden in possession. His team up by 1. Screen coming. Anthony to Paul. He throws it down. Jay, I'm surprised he had a chance to wrap him up.
Well, you're not the only one surprised. This guy is not a good free throw shooter. You never let him have an easy bucket. If anything, make him earn it at the charity stripe.
Knocked loose. Rockets have it. Paul with it up top. Up by 3. To Anthony. That one out of bounds off a Rocket. Both coaches hitting the reset button. Fresh legs coming onto the floor.
Substitutions, Houston.
Rose into the front court. Down 3. And the finish at the rim.
It looks like he's using his ball handling to feel the game out. I know it looks like he's just playing around out there trying to get the fans going. That is true, but he's also finding his rhythm.
Paul. Blocked by Butler.
Oh, he blocked that with authority.
Trying to cash in. Missed that one. You want to see more, knowing the defender was still right there. Rose into the front court. Exactly a minute to go here in the opening quarter. To Butler. Over to the right side. Rose to Gibson. Plenty of contact. The shot no good.
And a lot of times in this league, teams take days off. But if this defense keeps maintaining that style of pace defensively, this is going to be a dogfight.
And it's rejected by Jang.
Don't stare him down like that afterwards.
T-Wolves at the controls going up the floor. Rose to Butler. Shot from the lane won't go.
Ed, the game is so different. In today's NBA, defenders are longer, quicker, and more athletic than we've ever seen before. So offensively, as a shooter, you either have to be able to create more space off the dribble for your shot or have a much faster release. Ideally, you have both in the arsenal.
So the Rockets with the lead after one at Toyota Center. Jay and I back with more after this. You're watching the NBA on EA Sports. One quarter down, one way to go. So buckle up, it's wide open.
And we're exceeding the speed limit. These guys are playing fast, and the thing I love about it the most, there's entertainment in this game. Guys are looking away after they shoot the ball. Guys are clapping. Guys are energetic. This is why you love this sport.
The screen sets him up for two.
I don't know if the scouting report has made its way out here yet, but if anything, it says you need to not let him get that close to the rim.
Rose to Wiggins. From the outside, no good. Now Paul with the basketball. Lead stands at 7. Tucker. To Paul. Ooh, Chris Paul. Terrific shooting. He's 4 for 5.
Ed, all this talk I heard over the summer, what about CP3's hamstring? Will he be able to get back his first step? Will he still have it? There you go.
Nothing going here on that drive. Rose to Wiggins. Down to 5 on the 24. Wiggins. Well defended. Shot no good. If it was anyone else, they'd be back on the bench for taking that shot.
And this happens all the time in this league. Sometimes offensively, you're tired. It's one of those type of nights. You combine that with the fact that the defense is hungry and active and contesting everything, that's why shots aren't dropped.
Wiggins to Teague. Has a chance. Shot by Teague. Won't go down. Paul across the timeline. The lead stands at 9. Nothing going here on that drive. Tucker goes to the right side. Here comes the screen to Paul. Rockets with 4 to shoot. Here's CP3. He's looking for that touch. Teague with it up top. 9-point margin. Took it down the lane, but it's no good.
And one of the most underrated things in this game is quick lateral speed. Good job by utilizing that speed and taking away the lane.
Paul, they get it down to Tucker. Inside, he scores.
Ed, did you see what this pass just did? Now it encourages his teammates to move with more sense of urgency because they understand that next time down the court, they might be on the receiving end of that pass.
Jimmy Butler goes down last year, nearly cost Minnesota the playoffs. When he's healthy, what makes him so dangerous?
Well, he's a versatile player. He's a guy that can lock up on the defensive end and a guy that can give you 20-plus points every single night. Let's remember, he missed 21 games last year. That's a quarter of the season. But the team didn't do that bad without him. They went 10-11. If these guys can finally come together and build some chemistry, they're a team that could be a 6 or a 5 seed in the West.
Both coaches dipping into their reserves. Changes coming onto the floor.
Stepping in for the Minnesota
T to Butler.
32, Karl Anthony Towns.
Short jumper stays out.
It's so important to instill confidence in your best player. I know he missed a shot earlier, but that doesn't mean that you can't run the same exact play and let him prove he's a player he thinks he is, and we all know he is.
Clint Capella, 3 for 3 in this first half.
You know what I like about this pass play? Instead of putting his head down and forcing the action, he patiently waited for the play to develop.
Jimmy Butler for 2. It's Capella who clears the rebound. Tucker to Harden. Here's a chance from long range. He was all over him. Butler to bring it up. His guys trail by 13. To Towns. The pass set it all up.
That's lunch pail business right there. Don't worry about the no call. Keep powering through.
Here's Paul. Brings it up the floor. To Harden. To P.J. Tucker. They go down low to Anthony. And it's Towns there to get the rebound. Teague with the basketball. Counting down toward a minute to go in this first half. Knocked loose. And that's going to be off of Anthony out of bounds. It'll stay with the T-Wolves. Time to shuffle things up.
For Minnesota, number 67, Taj Gibson.
Gibson. To Towns. From the painted area, won't go down. Tucker to Harden. A drive through the paint, but his shot misses.
And you see so many players quit on a play after they were beat the first time, but not him. He stayed on his hip, he fought back, and he made the player miss the shot. That's great defense.
Oh, she got there.
I love when I see a defender stay opponent.
It's Minnesota basketball, and Jimmy Butler adds 2 points to the board.
You gotta get up on that. In the stairs, I'm coming. In the stairs.
Just inside the arc. At the buzzer. It's good. At the buzzer. Nice finish and more cash in the bank as we hit the break. Time expires to end the first half. The Rockets way out in front.
It's Jalen Rose, and I've got your EA Sports halftime report. The Rockets certainly didn't have a problem putting up points in the opening half. It was their playmaking, the way they gave each other scoring opportunities. That really impresses me. I love seeing unselfish basketball like that. These are the guys getting buckets for the Houston Rockets. The Timberwolves did a lot of things wrong in that opening half. The way they struggle doesn't bode well for them at all. But if they've got some fight in them, we'll know right away in the third quarter. These are the guys getting buckets for the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Game track. Field goals.
As you can see in the highlights, this team did a terrible job of adjusting to the flow of the game. They're also lacking effort in their execution.
Player of the half.
Chris Paul has already put together a pretty nice highlight reel for himself, and that's just after one half of basketball. He did a lot of scoring, and it probably won't stop anytime soon.
Who was cold?
Forget cold. This guy will be happy to be lukewarm at this point. He can't seem to get anything going.
Here we go with the top plays from the first half.
Number 2. Number 1.
Fellas, back to you.
First half, very one-sided. What will the second half bring? We'll find out as we're underway. And now Houston has the basketball. Paul. Off the assist.
And there's nothing more mentally intimidating for your opponent than when your own teammates are unselfish and make sure that you get the ball because they want you to drop 70 on them, maybe like Devin Booker did last year.
Jimmy Butler, 3 for 6 now.
Jimmy Butler's made such an impact on this young Timberwolves team. A guy with a blue-collar mentality, shows up to practice early and stays late. And obviously we saw that in the fact that the Minnesota Timberwolves made the playoffs for the first time last year since 2004.
To Paul. Shot clock to 4 for Houston. Has a look. Anthony, a shot, no good.
It's easy. Force guys into low percentage shots. That's the reason why we're big into stats. It was all provided to you before the game in the scouting report.
Butler to T. Baseline drive. Jeff T. It's been a quiet night. Only 3 attempts, but he makes that one stick.
The defense needs to be in more of a stance and react better. A player with that kind of NBA talent level will get to the rim every time with moves like that.
They work it down to Gordon. You've got to get that one to go. Timberwolves have the basketball. Butler to T. Here comes the screen. Knocked loose. Rockets come up with it. Rises for the slam.
And that transition offense was flawless when guys fan out and actually fill the lanes with a sense of urgency. You heard me correctly, a sense of urgency. You will get a great shot every possession.
And he's going to the line to shoot 2.
Great job, Ed, by the shooter to create contact after the jump. That's how you get to the free throw line.
Karl Anthony Towns at the line. First one goes down. And gets both to drop at the line.
Ed, you ready for another fun fact about the Houston Rockets?
Let's do it.
Okay, the team was established in 1967 and was given the name the Rockets because San Diego was the home to many space-age manufacturers. When the team eventually moved to Houston, the name still fit, giving Houston's association with NASA.
Wow, so Houston, we have a problem? All of that associated with space? Who knew?
Are you saying that because Carmelo Anthony's in town?
No, Apollo 13.
Oh, okay.
For Houston.
Substitution being made in this one.
For the Houston
preparing to shoot at the line.
Smart play to rip through the extended arm of the defender. That will get you to the free throw line every time.
First try at the line, no good. Knocks down the second after missing the first. Houston with the basketball. Harden to Paul. Sizing up the defense. Nothing going here on that drive. Clint Capella. The defense is really going to have to start paying attention. He's 5 for 5 for the field.
Sometimes when the players find that flow, nobody else needs to touch the ball. He's in a zone by himself.
To the basket is Butler, but he can't finish.
And this is where you know you have the offense right where you want them. Every possession, all you see them doing is complaining to the ref, complaining to each other. You're making the game uncomfortable. That's the mark of a good defense.
To Anthony. Here comes the screen. Anthony, down low, Capella. Shot from the lane, won't go. Nice follow-up on the dunk there.
Some players are so cerebral. I'm not even paying attention to the dunk as much as I'm paying attention to the player pointing and communicating to everybody his team needs a guard on the next play down the court.
Butler. Shot clock, it's coming down to 4. Now down to 3. That's what you like to see off the pick and roll. Nice, easy basket.
You know, Jimmy Buckets really has an inspiring story. From being homeless at the age of 13 before moving in with a friend, reads like a basketball version of The Blind Side. That grit has become the fabric of his DNA. From Tyler Junior College to Marquette to the 30th pick in the first round. Are you kidding me? To where he is now, Jimmy Buckets has had to earn every inch that this game has given him.
Oh, Capella up to block it. And he's going to the line to shoot.
I don't know about that one, Ed. I always thought your hand was part of the ball.
And he connects on the first free throw.
Houston. Entering the game for the Timberwolves.
Goes 2 for 2. Houston takes over. To Paul. Nene with the dunk.
What a pass. I have no clue how that ball even made it through the traffic.
Butler into the front court. His guys trail by 10. Jimmy Butler. With that, he's 5 for 9.
When the ball's in his hands, we all knew what was going to happen.
Paul into the front court. Looking to make something happen. Rockets with 4 to shoot from long range. That one off the mark. It's no good. Got a piece of it.
Jumping out the gym right now, Ed.
Great anticipation. Deep 2 there. Won't go. That ends the third quarter. The Rockets with the lead. The Wolves with the basketballs. We start the fourth quarter. They trail to this point, but you'd have to say this one's up for grabs.
And the new style we play with in this league, all it takes is 3 quick threes, and you're right back in the ball game.
A drive by Butler, but his shot won't fall.
And one of the most underrated things in this game is quick lateral speed. Good job by utilizing that speed and taking away the lane.
Short jumper won't fall. Oh, and Wiggins up to block the shot. Minnesota with the basketball.
Ed, that's light work for a guy with his ability.
Knocks it down from mid-range. We talk so much about who are the MVP candidates, but there are other guys who are so valuable to their teams, and Jimmy Butler at the forefront of that list.
I have a phrase that I use when I describe players like Jimmy Butler. It's called most valuable mentality. There are certain players that approach the game with a certain mindset every single day that they will do anything possible to win the ball game. He plays with his heart and soul every single possession and every night, and he will leave it on the court if that means he can win the ball game.
Paul. Able to convert inside.
There you go, finally. Shoot your shot.
Goes into the front court. The deficit is 6. To Towns. Short jumper misses. Paul into the front court. He'll run the offense. To P.J. Tucker. It's Paul for 2. It's good.
Look, the Rockets don't take too many mid-range jumpers. Actually, last season, they led the league in three-point attempts. Glad to see them actually find a two-point shot relevant these days.
Gibson won't go. He has to find better opportunities. Paul with it up top. It's an 8-point lead. To Harden. 4-3. Message received. Well defended.
Great contest by the D, but I want to see the coaching staff call the same exact play the next possession. Get that offensive player the ball. Let him prove that it wasn't the D. It was more in his own head.
We get a whistle and a timeout for Houston. That's their first of the final 3 minutes. That leaves them with 1 remaining.
And this is where habits come into play. Players think they can turn that switch on and off at their beckoning call, but it doesn't work that way. That's why coaches talk about practicing good habits on a daily basis, because they show up in the fourth.
Time to adjust. Both coaches making changes on the floor. Rockets in control of the basketball. Anthony to Capella. Probing the defense. Shot clock winding down. Oh, highlight moves. Tough to do with the defender all over you. Lets it fly from beyond the arc. Tucker, dead on three-point shooter. Tough to guard.
And that's what this game is. As the game plays, you have to adjust on the fly. That delivers the element of surprise.
To Wiggins. They get it down for Towns. From the painted area, won't go down. Another follow, still no good. Anthony to Paul. To Harden. Lets it fly from long range. Smothering D.
Shooters shoot, period. I don't want to hear any excuses. That's why you're on the floor. You keep doing what you're doing with that superior confidence.
To Anthony. Harden. Not a good pass there. T-Wolves have it.
Tonight, it may not cost you, but in a playoff game, it will.
To T. Here comes the screen. Butler, deep left corner. to Butler. Slam down. Karl Anthony Towns on the follow.
In an era where big centers often get devalued, Karl Anthony Towns is a true foundational player. He can function as a traditional center, but also can show you quick moves around the perimeter and knock down that three-point shot from deep.
Screen right.
James Harden, unbothered by the defense as he drills it.
Bread and butter, and there are few that can do it better off the screen.
Now a timeout here for the Timberwolves. They're down big in this fourth quarter, and a chance here to empty their bench. Butler. Towns to Wiggins. Butler for two. The screen sets him up for two.
Oh, don't see the read, be the read.
Here comes the intentional foul, but they did have one to give, so no free throws yet. They'll shoot after the next foul.
Okay, now look over to the sideline and see what the staff is trying to draw up on the next play. That's good clock management thus far.
And they're going to play this one out to its conclusion as we get an intentional foul. That means free throws coming up in what is a 7-point game.
Smart play. You have fouls to use. Good way to manage the clock without burning the timeout.
Second one off, and a putback slam. Late heave to beat the buzzer. It's the Rockets who are victorious as they win this one handily. That does it. For my partner, Jay Williams, and our entire crew, I'm Ed Cohen. This has been a presentation of the NBA on EA Sports. For more, log on to easports.com. As we say, so long, everyone.
Hey everyone, it's Jalen Rose, and it's time for the EA Sports post-game wrap-up. The Rockets added a win with today's solid victory, and the way they attacked the rim was outstanding. Not only is the dunk a high-percentage shot, it's also a great way to test the confidence of the defense. The Timberwolves just couldn't get within striking distance toward the end of the game. And even though some of them smiled and shook hands with the other guys after the game, you can tell by the way they headed to the tunnels how disappointed they were about this loss. What you see here is how the majority of the points were scored for the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Game track. Assists.
The Minnesota Timberwolves
had a lot of trouble working as a team defensively, giving up the kind of assists that happen from poor communication.
Chris Paul was the one making the playmaking possible, dealing out some great passes.
Player of the game.
Chris Paul could not have been more impressive in this game. The way he scored the basketball looked like he was playing with kids in high school.
Who was cold?
What can you say about a guy like this? Except that he fits the title of this segment. He was definitely cold in this game. Here's our top plays of the game.
Number 2. Number 1.
That does it for us. On behalf of the rest of the crew, good night.